Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. I'm Madison, and today I want to go over 5 different houseplants that have been really hyped up over the last couple of years that I think are really worth the hype. The first plant that I want to go over with you guys is none other than the Philodendron Gloriosum. Oh my pizza pie, look at that leaf. Are you kidding me? That's incredible. This is a plant, all of these plants that I'm about to show you are ones that I've been really hearing about lately, especially over the last couple of years. I've been really hearing about this plant. Come on. Obviously. For obvious reasons, I've been hearing about this plant, and I gotta say, it is 100 million% worth the hype. Not only is it absolutely stunning, she's gorgeous. And look at this new leaf coming out here. It's all pink and stuff on the back. It's so pretty. And this plant has been so easy to care for. I'm so shocked. I'm absolutely shocked at how just easygoing this plant is. I do personally keep it in my IKEA greenhouse cabinet just because that's where I like to put some of my more special plants, if they can fit in there at least, because it's not the biggest thing in the world. You can't fit super huge plants in that cabinet. So this will be growing, outgrowing the cabinet pretty soon, but the cabinet isn't crazy high humidity or anything like that. It is sitting at around 60, 65 right now, which I guess is higher than my normal home humidity, which is usually around I don't know, anywhere between 35 and 48, depending on the day and how humid and if we got rain or whatever. It's Colorado, so things change just on a dime here. But yeah, this plant has been so easy to care for. It does not droop or anything like that. I wouldn't say it is very, talkative or telling as to when it's time to give this guy a water or a feed. But I just kind of treat it the same way I do all of my other philodendron, where, once the soil starts to feel pretty dry all the way through, I go ahead and give it a nice thorough watering with a very diluted amount of my fertilizer. And if I'm being totally honest, I haven't been great about using my fertilizer lately. I'm at the end of the bottle and I don't know, I'm just kind of putting off using it because I don't want to finish it because then I have to buy a new one, which is so silly. That doesn't even make any sense now that I'm saying it out loud. It doesn't make any sense at all. But let me know if you do anything silly like that too, where you just put off using something that you need to use because you don't want to buy it again. But yeah, just give it a little bit of that fertilizer when I do use the fertilizer. If not, it does absolutely beautifully without. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this leaf came out when I wasn't using any fertilizer or just a teeny little bit because I was real forgetful for a while there. It was, I had the fertilizer upstairs and not downstairs, and therefore I didn't want to go upstairs and get it and bring it down. Oh my God, so silly. But yeah, such an easy care plant. It does sit pretty close to my grow light, which I feel is why, well, this is also the oldest leaf, and actually came with this leaf, but I feel that's why I might be getting some of this yellowing here. And on this leaf, I feel it's just ever so slightly yellow here. And I feel that could be due to the fact that it's sitting a little bit close to the grow light. So we'll see how it does. I might just have to bite the bullet and pull it out of the cabinet sooner than later, which is totally fine. I do think it'll do just fine outside of the cabinet. I feel philodendron in general are pretty hardy, so this is not the only philodendron that I have to show you today. Philodendron Gloriosum, absolutely worth the hype, and I will say I've been seeing these guys just in, my local area, coming up a lot more, not at stores, I will say, but from local sellers and just local people who grow plants and love plants like I do, like we do. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled for these guys. I have been seeing them coming down in price a lot. I think I've mentioned it in another video, but definitely check your local Facebook plant groups because it's a really good way to find deals and, find stuff that is local to you that has hopefully already been acclimated for a while to just kind of make your life a little bit easier and potentially even make some planty friends. But I will say, watch out for any plant people drama on the Facebook groups. I totally stay clear of all of that. I don't comment on anything. I don't like anything unless it is plant sale related. That's my little bit of advice for that. But yeah, Philodendron Gloriosum, totally worth the hype. All right, the second plant that I want to talk to you about today that I think is definitely worth the hype is going to be this Emedrium Silver. And when I'm referring to the Emedrium Silver, I'm really just referring to like Emedrium in general, like the just the regular green form, or the Spider-Man, which I think is also just the regular green form, just like more mature. I don't know, I could be wrong on that, but these guys are so cool. I feel like these are kind of like newly getting popular and more talked about on Instagram and stuff like that, and I'm so glad because it's such an interesting plant. I will say it does like to toss runners. Like you can probably see here, I have a bunch of bare space because he was looking for a place to grow here, but he latched on, he had some good aerial root action there, and has pushed out a couple beautiful leaves, or a few beautiful leaves. As you can see, this one kind of got stuck up in itself, and that's why it got all torn up there, but it's still so pretty. And then this one is just like crazy beautiful, like what the heck? It's so pretty. So yeah, and he's working on another one too, and then already shooting out another shoot there. So that's actually not good, because I'm at the end of this. I'm at the end of this stick rope here, as you can see. So I'm definitely gonna need to get this guy an extension to this piece of wood, and I was gonna say maybe a repot, but not quite yet. This plant is so stinking cool. Although it does like to send out runners if it doesn't have anything to like kind of hold on to, kind of similar to a Monstera Peru or something like that. I feel like that sucker throws out runners like crazy, or an Oblique, which I do not have, but maybe one day. Those are starting to come down in price too, but anyway, that's not what this is about. Even though this guy throws out runners from time to time if he's looking for a place to grow, it is just so satisfying to watch grow, and pretty easy. Like, again, I treat it kind of, honestly, if I'm being totally real, I treat all of like my kind of aeroidy things the same. All of my like alocasia, which are alocasia technically aeroids? Oh boy. But anyway, I treat my different like classes of plants similar, if that makes sense. So I treat this kind of the same way I do my philodendron, where I water it when the soil feels pretty darn dry, or the pot feels pretty light, or both. And that's just how I do it, with a very, very diluted amount of fertilizer. I feel like I'm going to be saying the same thing for plant care for all of these, but that's just really how I do it. I try to keep it really, really simple, really streamlined. That way it's not this like massive chore, and I just get to kind of like boop bop around and have fun with my plants and like enjoy them. So I try not to put like too much crazy thought into it, but yeah, it's just such a satisfying plant to watch grow. And like the Philodendron Gloriosum, I've also been seeing these guys pop up more in Facebook groups and stuff like that. I actually bought a bunch of nodes from these guys. I will try and link that video somewhere up over here, or over here somewhere. I'll link that video up somewhere for you so that you can see. But yeah, I propagated a ton of nodes because I purchased like this long runner node with like 26 nodes of the Emedrium Silver for like 28 bucks or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. I have all the information in that video, but yeah, they're growing beautifully. I just wanted to show you this larger one today because he's just so nice to look at. But yeah, even growing them from a node, although they are pretty slow to go from the start, once they get going, they really seem to get going, and it's just gorgeous. Like, can we appreciate the color and the shape? And the like green version, or the Spider-Man version or whatever, is just so, so cool. And it's slightly, I feel like it's a slightly different shape as well. I'll try and put a picture up like over here so you can see the difference, but it is just gorgeous. So yeah, Emedrium Silver or Emedrium Spider-Man, what have you. Pretty easy care plants, and such stunning, stunning plants. The next plant I want to talk to you about is one that I have, if I'm being totally honest. Oh, sorry, my foot was hurting. If I am being totally honest, it is one that I have been struggling with a little bit more, but I am just realizing that we're ready for a repot. So let me show you what this plant is. This is my Syngonium albo, or albo Syngonium. So I feel like I'm not seeing this plant quite so much anymore, but this was super, super hyped up for quite a while, and you can definitely see why. The leaves are just gorgeous. Wow, I really should have done my nails before this, but oh well, that's okay. But yeah, this plant is so, so cool. I will say, I personally have struggled with spider mites with this plant. plant a little bit. So I did lose a couple of the oldest leaves, which, I mean, it's not a big deal. They were the oldest leaves anyway, and I could always chop and propagate this, but I've never propagated a Syngonium, so I am a little bit nervous. So I'm waiting for this guy to hopefully get a little bit bigger, and then I will chop and prop to kind of experiment with that and see how it goes. But so far, despite having a couple incidences with spider mites and with obviously needing a repot, I mean, look at that. Sorry. It's a really easy care plant. Again, I treat it just like all my other ones. I water it when it gets really dry. That's it. I will say I do keep both this guy and my Emedrium Silver. I totally forgot to mention. I keep them both pretty close to just natural light. They're on a second story and they're getting eastern facing light. So it's getting that nice early morning sunlight coming through. So it's not terribly strong. It's not as harsh as the evening sunlight is on the western side of our house here. So it's just getting really nice, like gentle, is that even possible? It's getting really nice, soft morning light, and I think it really enjoys it because it just pushes out these gorgeous leaves. And one thing I think is really, really cool about this plant is that you just never know what you're gonna get. Obviously with variegation, it's always gonna be pretty random, but I mean, look at that. I have like the full gambit just right here with these 3 leaves. Like this one is pretty darn green. This one's like nice and mottled and kind of speckled. And then a beautiful half moon leaf with the other half like kind of mottled as well. It's so cool. So I absolutely love it. And I've also gotten a fully white leaf before, and although it melted, of course, because it was all white, it was stunning. Just so pretty. So I would definitely say to keep your eyes peeled for an elbow Syngonium if you don't have one already. Again, I've been seeing them coming down in price quite a bit. So I think I want to say I paid like $10 or $15 for it, and it had like 2 leaves, maybe. Something like that. It wasn't big. It was not much bigger than this. And I have had it for a while, but obviously I've kind of been doing it dirty. If I'm totally honest, I don't pay attention to this plant that much. I really don't. It sits right next to my bed, so I look at it every morning and I look at it every night, and I appreciate its beauty, but you know, I don't really do too much for it. So obviously, because I didn't realize just how many roots were coming out of the bottom there, so I feel like it's an easy care, easygoing plant, and I just always appreciate that. You know what I mean? I've got a lot of plants and I like it that way. So I like for my plants to be as easy care as possible. That way, if I do end up forgetting about them for like a few days or like a week or something, they're not going to be terribly angry at me. You know, we might just get some crispiness. So I have noticed that about this, just to let you know as well, if I do like forget to water it for a little bit too long, I will get a few crispy leaves just like right along the end or the tip of the leaf, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, beautiful elbow Syngonium. So the next plant I want to talk to you guys about is one that had its like super hyped up day probably a couple years ago now, if not a little bit longer than that now, but it was totally worth it. And I still see these guys popping up all the time, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. So let me show you. I am talking about this gorgeous string of turtles. Do you see how pretty she is? Ah! I am just in love with this plant. This is coming from someone who is not like the biggest fan of these string of plants. I feel like they can look kind of scraggly and kind of messy, and I don't like it when plants are like beautiful, long and lush, and then really bald and sparse at the top. And this one has just not done that at all, and he's been growing beautifully. As you can see, he definitely faces the window more on this side rather than this side, but that's totally fine with me. It's just such a gorgeous plant. Like, look at that. So pretty. So for this plant, I do have this in my plant room, so it is getting that harsh like evening sunlight, and I think he really likes it. Although I guess looking at him now, he looks a little bit bleached. I feel like the colors could be a little bit more contrasting and stuff. But so, I mean, maybe I could be okay with pulling him a little bit further away from the window and maybe get some kind of darker foliage, which I would love. Because like, where's that one? I saw a really pretty one. Okay. Do you see this turtle right here? He's super dark and so pretty. And I would like them all to look like that. So I think I will try and pull him a little bit further away from the window because as it is right now, he's only about 4 or 5 feet away from the window. So he's pretty darn close. And like I said, that evening light is super harsh. I found this at my local grocery store for like $12 or something like that. My mama got it for me, so thanks, Mom. I absolutely love it. Now, as you can tell, you cannot see any of the soil on top. When I first got this plant, I was terrified that I was going to murder it. So the way that I go about watering this plant or knowing when to water this plant is honestly, if I pick it up and it feels like nothing. If I'm being fully honest, you can't see the soil, like I said. You can kind of like wiggle a finger in there and kind of like gently poke around and see. Right now it is nice and heavy and it feels nice and damp in there. But I have found that sometimes, I don't know if it's like the soil that's in here or what, but sometimes even if I poke my finger down in there, it will still feel a little bit moist. But when I pick the pot up, it feels like literally nothing. So I'll just go ahead and give it a good thorough watering just to be safe. And I haven't had any adverse effects from that so far. So I would definitely say to pick up your plants, especially if they're smaller. If they're large, obviously that's not super feasible. But if you've got, you know, a smaller plant, pick it up after you water it so that you can kind of gauge how heavy that is. And then pick it up when you notice that it looks really, really sad and droopy so that, again, you can kind of have like a mental note of what that feels like when it is really, really dry. So yeah, I just picked this guy up and when he feels really dry, I give him a super, super thorough watering. I'll just like hang him up in the shower and give him a nice douse. And I don't worry about messing with any of the stuff on top. I do just top water it. I was trying to bottom water it for the first couple feedings and it just took forever and then I would forget about it. And I mean, I still forget about it when I water it and put it in the shower and everything, but not as long. So, and I don't feel like it's like as detrimental because he's just sitting in there. He's not like sitting in a bowl of water or anything like that. So yeah, I just water straight on top. I'm not terribly gentle or anything like that. I just kind of pour it from the pitcher and it seems to just take it absolutely fine. Okay. The last plant that I want to talk to you guys about, you could probably see in the background that is totally hyped up and totally worth the hype, is Philodendron Billiota. Look at this beast. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, it's so cool. So this was so generously sent to me by Aroid Market, as was the Emedrium Silver, actually, that big bad boy. And this Billy has not stopped growing. Like, are you kidding? So this is the most recent leaf that it just put out. It's still really like soft and floppy. I have to bend back so far, but it is giant. So this is how far my fingers can spread apart there. And it's at least double that. So super cool. It is gorgeous. And let's see, which one did it put out before that? I think this was the one before it. So it's just so cool. This is, I want to say, my easiest care plant. Yeah, I'm saying it. Philodendron Billiota, easiest care plant. I don't even know how to like show this to you and also be in the frame. Like, it's so big. There we go. But yeah, this plant is so stinking cool, so easy to care for. Again, I just pick it up when it feels super, super light. I'll give it a water. With the kind of mix that I gave this guy, it was super chunky. I have some of those like clay leca ball things in there to kind of really give it some nice aeration and stuff like that. And yeah, so I can't really like stick my finger down in there to see how moist or dry it is. I just pick it up and see if it feels really light. I'll give it a nice water and it hasn't given me a single issue. I did find like a spider web on it, like not spider mites web, but like a an actual just spider web on here. And I think it's because I didn't have to move him for so long. I just watered him. I checked the leaves all the time for pests. There was nothing happening. I just water him. He's happy. He does sit right in the window in my bedroom. So he's getting really nice early morning sunlight, just like my, just like the Emedrium and the Syngonium. He sits right in front of the window, getting that really nice early morning sun exposure. And he's clearly pretty darn happy. Like, what the heck? It's so stinking cool. If you were to get any one of the plants that I'm talking about today, I would say go for the Billy first. I feel like I'm betraying the Gloriosum by saying that, but honestly, this has been such a satisfying plant to watch grow. Every leaf has gotten so much bigger. Like, how big is the next leaf gonna be? If this is how big this leaf is, like, what? What the heck? It's just freaking wild. And the petioles are just like straight up carrot orange. It blows my mind. Okay, so, and look, I told you I just put out this leaf, right? It's already, how do I show this to you? It's already working on another leaf right here. This little guy will turn into a new leaf. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind. Can we appreciate her for a second? Like, what the hell? Are you kidding me? Huge thank you to Aerie Market for sending the plants that they sent over. That was so unbelievably kind of them. That is not what this video is about at all, but I can't not thank them when talking about these plants because, like, what the heck? Yeah, just what the heck? How is such a beautiful plant so easy to take care of? This is the one too that, Philodendron Billiota is like one of the plants, one of the more rare plants that I was so terrified to even think about getting because I just assumed that it was gonna be really hard to care for because I mean, look at it. But it's a philodendron, so I should have known better. It's so easy. Look at the back. Oh, whoa. It's just gorgeous. So gorgeous. All right, I'm gonna stop gushing. I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, let me know what you think of my selection today for these plants that I think have been really hyped up, that are really worth the hype. Let me know what plants you are super hyped up about right now, because I would love to know, and I'd love to add some new plants to my wish list. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.